Hey everybody, it's JT. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I just recorded, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes worth of this review, and I had the microphone turned off the whole time. So that's how my day is going. I hope yours is a little bit better. So a couple weeks ago, a good friend of mine by the name of Jess gave me a call and said, "Hey JT, we've got a project at the shop I work at. Would you be willing to or interested in doing a review?" I said, "Sure, tell me a little more about it." So she said Vape Affliction and Vicious Ant were collaborating on a rebuildable dripping atomizer, and that also one of her drip tips called the Mad Hatty. It's a wide bore drip tip. That's it. That's the Mad Hatty. Fits it as well. So she played a part in it also. I think that was pretty cool. I said, absolutely, send it on over. Fast forward a couple weeks. That's why we're here today. So we're going to be talking about the Vicious Ant Goliath rebuildable dripping atomizer. That's what we're doing. And this time the microphone is on. Now, as the name suggests, you've probably already figured this out by now, the Goliath is a very large atomizer. I guess that depends on what your definition of large is, but it's a 30 millimeter in diameter as opposed to a more common 22. It's a big boy. The Goliath, being 30, tends to look a little bit better and sit a little more flushed and look a little more balanced on a 26 650 tube mod. Looks a little more balanced. As long as it makes connection, feel free to run it on an 18 650 tube. By all means. But it's going to look a little unbalanced like this, a little top heavy. Just a little bit. What I think, and I don't know this for sure, but seeing the market and seeing box mods be so huge and so popular, I think that's probably what they were thinking more than tube mods and which one that's going to look good on. Because it looks pretty balanced on a larger box device. And this is what I imagine. I don't know. I imagine most people will get this and use it on one of their boxes, one of their larger boxes. Just fit a little bit better, look a little bit nicer on there, in my opinion. So the Goliath looks great, okay, right off the bat, but there is a really unique build deck inside of this thing. And pretty early on in this video, I'll switch over and do the close-up because I really want to show you. You know, I flashed a picture at the beginning, but I want to do the close-up look and show you that deck a little bit. Packaging, awesome. Little sleeve, open up the box. There's a foam, and there your Goliath will be if you choose to get one. There will also be a bag with a bunch of screws in there. Do not lose these. These will be very important, most likely, as you go to build this device. So hold on to those. Black, they do make different colors as far as the VA emblem. Mine is the black, and the drip cap that I have, again, is Mad Hatty from Double Helix Designs. And it's a silver, white, and black swirl. Looks pretty sharp. The airflow on this atomizer is plentiful. I want to state, go ahead and do it now, I'm not a huge airflow guy. I don't like huge air holes and huge drip caps or chuff style drip caps. That's just not my personal vaping preference, but it is very popular, and I know a lot of vapors really do appreciate those things. Well, you've got it here. You've got the very wide opening in the top. The Mad Hatty fits in there. I do want to add that I do not think that when you order the Goliath from Vape Affliction, I don't think you get this drip cap with it. I think that's a separate purchase. Double check me on that to make sure. But that should be on your mind as you're ordering. Make sure you're going to have a drip tip to fit it. I don't know if other things fit. I'm not sure. So as far as airflow, you have got 2 vertical slots at 4 different places. You know, you've got 4 pairs of airflow all the way around. And in the way that other atomizers have fins or a way to adjust the airflow, this does not. There are no traditional fins or anything that would be familiar to me to adjust the airflow here. You can probably build in different ways and wick in different ways to maybe kind of mess with the airflow a little bit, but for the most part, what you see is what you get, and that's what you're going to get as your vape. So I think now I want to show the deck, because, you know, just a quick look isn't really going to help. I want to do the up close portion, and then we'll come back and talk about the atomizer a little bit more. Whiteboard, competition, chuff, whatever you want to call it. This is a Double Helix Designs large drip cap. Plenty of airflow for you airflow lovers. Top cap, like I mentioned, vertical air slots. You know, there's a pair of them at 4 different places around this atomizer. Also, like I mentioned, not traditional as far as airflow control. You know, there's no fins or any direct way to close off any of this airflow. But the base is where it gets really cool, as you probably know. So, you've got a large base, technically 4 separate juice wells, okay? This bottom set of holes is going to be your negative, and then the top set, that's going to be your positive. Really just a really creative deck, and just to give you an idea of the size of the Goliath beyond, you know, what I've already shown you. That's the size difference. It is a big boy. So, just to show you kind of the flexibility here, I've installed 2 quick coils. These are for display only. This is only just to show the flexibility of this. The first coil, as you'll see, I have installed, and I've got the negative lead going one way, secured with this bottom screw and this bottom hole, and I've got the positive lead, the top lead, over to the top positive across the side from it. And on the other side, there's a quick example of both to the same side. Not a build tutorial whatsoever, but an example of some of the flexibility that's offered. Get as creative or as boring as you wish, but this atomizer allows for some different type stuff. Okay, we're back. So you were able to see really what this atomizer is all about. You remember I mentioned how important these screws, this baggie of screws was? I noticed that obviously the screws that you use to secure your leads, the leads from your coils, come in from the outside, obviously. You can see that very clearly. Most atomizers, they go down, you know, from up, and you screw it down to secure those. This is a little bit different. That's what gives it, it's pretty cool design, right? Now, what you have to be careful of is that the screw is run in far enough for the top cap to go down. When I first built on this device, I'm pretty sure I was using 24 gauge wire and the screws that were already on it. So I backed them out, ran my coil lead in there and screwed it down, and was unable to get my top cap on. So I scratched my head, I was like, man, that's weird. I'm not going to be able to use this wire. I was going to go to, 28 gauge or something a little thinner. Then I remembered this baggie of screws. So they give you a full set of long screws and a full set of shorter screws. If my memory serves correctly, you will probably need the shorter screws if you are building with 26 gauge, 24 gauge, 22, or anything thicker. Anything thicker than 26 gauge, you are probably going to have to swap out and use the shorter screws. Anything thinner than 26, if you decide to build with 28 gauge wire, you are probably going to need the longer screws because the wire is thinner and you've got to make sure you secure it very well with the screw. The screw's got to be long enough to really secure that. So make sure you save these screws, and if you choose to build with different gauges of wire, they've got you taken care of. I have a feeling you creative coil builders out there may be drooling and may be really excited about a deck that gives you this much flexibility. It's easy to build on for me, and that's one plus. So one of the issues, and I didn't do this in the up close, and I might should have, but we're just going to talk about it. One issue I had with this is that the bottom pin is pretty much flush with the 510 threads. Okay, it doesn't protrude any. Not a huge issue, but if you're one of those folks that uses or owns a lot of hybrid style tube mods, you're going to be out of luck if your atomizer is like the one I received. I have been unable to use this on a hybrid style device for me in real time. Not a big deal to me at all. I don't use a ton of those. I've got a couple, and doesn't really bother me, but I think it's very important to point out. So if you're thinking about getting this atomizer to use it on a hybrid style device, don't maybe touch base with Vape Affliction and just ask them. But as far as mine, it does not protrude, and it is not safe to use on hybrid style devices. But again, I think the majority of vape time this atomizer is going to get is going to be on a box style device. And so far, I've only had 1 or 2 boxes not make connection with the 510 pin here. I do have a couple that weren't able to make connection, and that's really, it's not a horrible thing, okay? Because the protruding bottom pin on atomizers these days sometimes is out of control, and it will damage a 510 if it sticks out too far. So, I'm not bashing this atomizer for not having one, but I'm pointing it out because a protruding pin is kind of standard on the market these days, and I don't want you to purchase this and unsafely use it on a device or not be able to use something you just spent good money on. So overall, I like what the device is about. I like the build. I like the look. I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy the experience they get from this. Personally, it doesn't fit my vaping style very well, but that's okay. Not everything does. And I don't want to get into the habit of only reviewing things that make sense and fit my vaping style. That's not fair. That makes it pointless to do these things. So thank you to Vicious Ant, Vape Affliction, and Jess with Double Helix Designs. It's a beautiful atomizer. I think many, many vapors are going to love it. It's $135. Check your vape budget, check your devices and your vaping style, and if this matches up, get it. If it doesn't, there's other stuff on the market, and I'm sure Vicious Ant and Vape Affliction will have future projects. Maybe one of those will hit you in the right spot. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.